Hey folks, it's good to be back here in the interview format. It's Director Slater here, and with me today, I have someone you all know very well from the Discord, Bulric. How you doing over there, man?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I made the same mistake that I made with the Australian guys when I was just like, okay, we'll do it 9 a.m. my time, and they're like, dude, that's like 3 in the morning over here, or whatever it was. I realized it last night. I was like, oh shit, I'm back on Eastern, and he's definitely not Eastern. So thanks for waking up.
Yeah, no problem. I'm usually up at this time anyway, so.
Yeah, so you're not a complete bum on Thursdays, huh? Or it's Thursdays, Sundays.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah, good, good. Yeah, so I had like a couple questions prepped and everything, but I just wanted to get the lowdown on like a little bit about you. I think you're from California. You told me once or something.
Yeah. So I'm from California, and I'm back in California after just graduating from the University of Arizona this last
Oh
winter.
my god, badass, dude! That is the non-partiers version of ASU, right?
I mean, I think we party harder than ASU, but
Oh shit, party rivalries. Oh boy.
yeah,
That's crazy. That's cool.
yeah.
What you graduated 2017 or 2018 just now?
2017 technically, in December, at the end of December.
Nice, nice. What'd you get? Com major?
No, economics.
Okay, a little bit more useful then. Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Sweet, man. Sweet. Well, it must be nice to leave the Arizona heat in exchange for a nice, cool, temperate California.
Yeah, Northern California still gets hot, but it gets hot a lot later. I mean, in Arizona and Tucson especially, it's above 90 at 9 o'clock, so
Oh,
that's nice.
you're Northern California. You know, my fiance was just in living in Vacaville not too long
Oh,
ago.
okay.
Yeah, which
Yeah, yeah.
Cowville, and it's also where we kept all of our nation's most insane serial killers in that prison over there.
Yeah. We just caught the Golden State Killer just a month ago. So
Right.
yeah,
I didn't get the full story, but I heard Patton Oswalt's wife's book had a lot to do with catching him or something. Did you hear about
yeah.
that?
So yeah, exactly. So her book, I forget her name right now because it's not Mrs. Oswald.
Yeah.
It's called I'll Be Gone in the Dark, and she while she wasn't like she didn't discover anything brand new, she just kind of kept the investigation alive and in people's
Gotcha.
minds. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's nuts. You guys have a whole bunch of nutcases over there. All it takes is actually one visit to Muscle Beach after like 11 p.m. and I think everyone will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Nutcases.
yeah. Oh yeah, Northern California actually has a lot of the major serial killers like Zodiac,
Yeah,
Golden State, BTK,
dude.
I believe. Yeah,
What
so
is the
we
matter with you fucks over there? Jesus.
yeah, my girlfriend who's becoming a lawyer actually thinks that it's about how far apart our houses are from each other,
Yeah.
mixed with like how poor our police officers are.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what. Speaking of poor, you guys like people can't get out of California fast enough because of how much like taxes are there. So I wanted to ask you, how is it being California poor? Like having a awesome income and being able to save none of it.
It sucks. I'm already
Yeah.
planning my escape. Unfortunately, my girlfriend is starting law school here.
Oh
So
boy.
we're kind of anchored for the next 4 years. So
Oh
it's just
man.
yeah, time to make do until she gets that law degree, and then maybe we'll go somewhere else for her bar, or maybe it'll get better, something
Yeah,
like that.
that is the ultimate version of being whipped. You're being whipped so hard that you're forced to stay in a state where you will be financially raped for the next couple of years. Ouch.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah, but the
escape it.
payoff's good.
Yeah. Um, all right. Well, to get started, I just wanted to, maybe do something that could warm up our brains here a little bit early in the morning. I made this like little game that I got going on. It's called Freudian Slip. You want to try it out real quick?
Okay,
All
sure.
right. I'm just gonna give it the preface that anything that I ever come up with has a 80% chance of failing. So we'll see how this goes. But the point is, it's called Freudian Slip, and what I want you to do is I'll say a phrase, and then you say the first thing that comes to mind. All right? You don't have to think about it. It's totally one of those subliminal games. So we're going to start off here. I'll give you an easy one. Afternoon delight.
Alcoholic beverage.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Choking the chicken.
Oh, jerking it.
Okay. All right. Not bad. You're disgusting, by the way. Please try to keep it a little bit more PG in here. No pants dance.
What I do every morning.
Okay. All right. Playing with the ham wallet.
Really gross wallet.
Okay. Backing the car into the lady garage.
That's what I call my girlfriend's side of the garage.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. Wait. That was a stretch to keep it Disney PG. That was. Remember, first thing that comes to mind. Yeah. All right. How about this one? Taking a trip to Pound Town.
Oh, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
That's my Friday afternoons.
Okay. All right. Gross. Yet again, please refrain from being so disgusting. Maybe one more here. This was my favorite one that I found. Delivery from the one-eyed milkman. First thing that comes to mind.
My actual milkman, James. He's one-eyed.
You have
an eye patch and everything.
You don't have a milkman. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, man. Yeah, that was Freudian Slip. I'm actually amazed that you kept that somewhat PG. I was just hoping that you'd say sex for every single one, and then I'd make fun of you for it and tell you you're gross. But wow, yeah, not bad, not bad. So we got some of your background. Maybe to get to know you even a little bit better, I have some general questions here that might reveal something about your personality. You want to try some of these out?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So first one, would you rather have to say every single thought that comes into your head out loud or never be able to speak again?
Say whatever comes into my head out loud.
Really?
I do that 80% of the time anyways, so
yeah, I was gonna
it's not too much of a stretch.
Yeah, you can judge on the Discord. I mean, it's the same thing. And not only is it coming to your head, but you're typing it out after and pressing the enter key to send it. So that's that's a couple barriers that you still pass through. It's amazing.
Yeah, and spelling it poorly still.
Yeah, right. That's why we have what's his name, Gotham, to sarcastically correct us on everything that we say in there.
Oh
yeah. So, all right, here's another one. This is really revealing, and I want you to answer this honestly. Okay, if someone offered you $100,000 to put your firstborn in the microwave for 3 seconds, that's it. Would you do it?
Only if it's a girl.
Oh, that's actually one of the better answers that I got. You know what? I'm gonna have to steal that. I really like that. Depends on the sex. Wow. You are one sick man, and I appreciate that answer. I appreciate the honesty.
Hey.
This one is from Sir Mead. He wanted me to ask, why does my dad hit my mom?
Because you touch yourself at night, Sir Mead.
Got it.
You need to quit it. You're a bad person. Listen, I'm talking to you right now, Sir Mead. You're a bad person. Stop it.
Look me in the eye over the YouTube video that isn't a video.
Yeah, put a picture of me up right now. I'm pointing at you. Stop it.
All right, good. All right, so some more caffeine-based stuff. I like doing these character interviews because we get a little bit more background and a little bit more personality of the character. One of the downfalls of having so many characters is it's hard to fit in everybody's deep, developed, detailed story that I'm sure we all have in mind. So if you want to give me a rundown on like where the idea for Bulric came from and any additional background that you had for the character that we maybe haven't seen yet.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of my characters, I'm going through some thought in my own mind about, what are people like? What would a person do in this kind of situation? And I think that's where the best stories come from. So Bulric is kind of a combination or a culmination of Frankenstein's monster from the book, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Okay. All right.
And then a concept in, I don't know what you'd call it, like theoretical philosophy, called the Ship of Theseus, which is basically if you took a boat and piece by piece, you took a boat, parts of the boat apart and then replaced them with new pieces. And at the end of the day, you had this whole brand new boat with all new pieces, and then an old boat, or then the old boat with all its pieces. Which would be the real boat? Which would be the original boat that you had?
That's interesting. That's an interesting concept.
And so I kind of put that concept into Bulric, and we saw it in story arc 6, I think it was, with the doctor. That he's basically has this relationship with this doctor who was essentially taking him apart piece by piece with every injury that he got in the fighting pits. And so now, and this is something that people may not know, but a little bit into Bulric's backstory is that he's kind of a broken man in this sense, that there's what is Bulric, the physical being, is very much not him at all. It's not his original body. It's barely his original mind. And so what we're really looking at is a character who doesn't even really understand himself, or who's not a real person.
Yeah. All right. So Ship of Thesis. Well, I do have to warn you that I went to college, but don't get it confused. I don't read, so I have no idea what that is. You probably can tell from my writing, but nevertheless, it's an interesting concept. Definitely a pretty cool concept, and there's some overlap there with the Frankenstein thing, and I do have to say it was really fun to write the Merc Mantis doctor into that story arc that you mentioned, and show, like, we'd been hinting at it because Bulric had that like patchwork skin all over his arms, but it was cool to see it come to life. But yeah, I think it would be interesting to see what that does to someone's personality, and see where he goes when he's kind of reignited into the war scene, and what he does. Yeah,
and just to compliment you right here for a moment, the Merc Mantis scene was really great, and I got chills when I was listening to it. So
nice, yeah. Appreciate it. I think he's an interesting character, and what I really would like to do with him is, I mentioned this to a lot of people that write in with characters that can perform magism and things like this, that for every strength you're given, there's going to be some sort of limitation. So I think that can also apply here in the case of Merc Mantis. Like, he can work on you and give you this steel arm, but there might be some limitation that you come across in the future. So that could be fun to play around with as well. What'd you think of the upgrade?
Yeah, I was also really excited about that upgrade. I really did like that. I really like that your characters in Bulric and even Merc Mantis, they're not these perfect beings, they're not like superheroes that just always win. They're not Supermans. They do have their flaws and their downfalls, and they can die, like we saw in this last part 2 of story arc 7.
Right. It's all about keeping the playing field level between the characters. So magism gives you obvious powers. I mean, take a character like Rosio, right? Ridiculously powerful, but she has the limitation of she can't cast her spell too long, otherwise she's going to pass out and literally be the most vulnerable person on the battlefield. So all kind of balances out. So I just wanted to ask you, how did you go about teaming up with Sir Mead when you found out that you were going to be grouped, and what have you guys been doing behind the scenes to write in for your arcs?
So when you teamed me up with Sir Mead, I was actually really excited. I felt like after the first story arc, there was a good counterbalance between us. There's kind of a little bit of an irony that there's this big man who just wants to be in the spotlight because he loves being loved by the people, and then there's this Sir Mead who has this great power within him, but he's kind of trying to hide and trying to stay out of the spotlight, and so there's a lot of contention there.
Right.
But
exactly.
between the episodes, Sir Mead and I contact each other, through the Discord, and kind of talk about what we want to do and how we felt about the
Yeah.
last episode or arc, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a lot of talking back and forth. I mean, not too much, but probably about 30 minutes worth.
Right. I think it was important to get you guys reunited, so I gave you, I don't know, I gave you a little incentive there at the end, dragging him back on the horse. I think he deserved it after that. Because
Oh yeah, no,
I remember when he wrote in his arc, and after you were passed out and susceptible in the church earlier, he was like, I mean, I guess I'll get him if it's convenient. And I was just like, all right, like, how do I take convenience into play when you start to consider like dragging someone or trying to get someone out of a city against an army? So that's how that all came together. But it was fun. It was fun. What else do I have here? So what do you want to see out of Bulric and Mead being reunited here in our season finale?
that's a good question. It seems like we're coming towards some kind of battle with the Latch Army
Yeah,
in Moray. So,
yeah,
I mean, with Sir Mead and his gang now, and then I guess I have a little bit of gang if I remember right. Just kind of coming together and kind of being a powerhouse unit for the small Kothian army, I guess would be
yeah,
the best thing. But
yeah.
I don't want to speculate too much because I want you to be like uncorrupted, I guess, as the director, as
Oh
the
yeah,
creator
no,
of
for
this.
sure, for sure. I trust me. When you get all the entries in and get all of those opinions, they all just start to meld together anyway and create something greater. So don't feel like you got to hold back. But yeah, it'll be an interesting mix. One other thing that I was thinking about that's interesting about the two characters, and I think what makes them such a great pair is, yes, on the surface level, they are different in every way imaginable, but at the same time, and I think their underlying drives are like self-sufficiency, right? And that's one thing that they both share that they don't necessarily know about each other, but that's like their inner drive. Like Bulric, driven by fame and conquering, while Sir Mead is just also very concerned with himself, just in a different way, about being, okay, I just want to disappear, get drunk, have a good time, not have to worry about all this stuff. So it's an interesting comparison of drive.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's they're both self-interested in their own goals, but at the same time they kind of by fate, or by, I guess, by your hand, they have figured out that their wants kind of coincide with each other.
Right.
Sir Mead is wanting to disappear at a time where nobody can really disappear and
Yeah.
everybody's being asked to step up, and Bulric,
Yeah.
who is more than eager to step up, is willing to step into that limelight, but
Yeah.
needs a backup, needs a buddy, because he knows he can't do it alone anymore.
Exactly. And those drives are really going to be challenged this episode, I think, because Alvar, who I also know is in the Discord, I thought his character was extremely interesting, both in the background that he supplied, but also in the way that he's playing the game, right? So this kid came into PND, or man, sorry, I shouldn't have said kid, came into PND and wanted to play the meta game, right? So his entries are much more meta, in a sense of what the armies are doing, how people are moving around in our game world, and what he has to do to save the Kothian army, or Kothian as a whole. So with two guys that are just focused on themselves and focused on their personal stories, how can he utilize these characters? So it might be interesting to see how his entry will conflict with you guys now that you're kind of one unit up in the Sudland Forest. Have you talked to him yet?
Actually, no, I haven't, and that's
Yeah.
someone I should and ought to reach out to, because he's basically in charge of us now.
Yeah, essentially. I just think it's one of the awesome things about this game is that you can really play it any way you want. And so far we've seen personal stories, whether it was kind of by my hand in the first arc, doing writing more personably, or not. But we do have people thinking both ways, and I encourage people to shift their focus depending on what needs to be done, including you and Mead. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys come up with for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with Alvar, it's a good balance, because I remember myself in the middle arcs being like, man, I'm really hashing out Bulric and Mead and this whole kind of relationship that they have, but I have no clue how I can get Bulric and Mead, who are kind of loners or kind of isolated people, to really push any kind of big idea. So I'm glad that people like Alvar are kind of coming out of the woodwork and coming together to push the big story, while we have a bunch of little great stories in between.
Right. Yeah. And we're gonna the best part about this last episode and kind of bringing some of the characters together is we're gonna get a good mix of both. So you're gonna have your personal stories, but now these personal stories are all going to be tied together in this kind of greater battle that's going on. Which leads me to any wild speculations of kind of what's going on. I think one interesting development from the latest arc was the now knowing that the fourth rift is underwater and in the Shattered Isles. But anything else kind of catch your eye in this episode?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and then you brought the other rift into it, but it started spinning my wheels that while there seems to be this great battle coming between Lack and Kothine and the secret force that's coming from the Shattered Isles,
right?
I don't know if we'll see that or not, but I think that there's something bigger and more dangerous than just these armies fighting each other. I mean,
sure.
If you think about it, the Lack are coming from a realm where it's been totally decimated, where humankind or Lack kind has been totally decimated. So I think something bigger might be coming out of Lack. The Bloodhooks are scary and dangerous, but the Lack don't seem to fear them. Whereas whatever destroyed their society or marginalized them is something that they're going to be wholly afraid of.
Right. Yeah, I think you nailed kind of the idea of like what is actually going on. The Bloodhooks are just I kind of introduced as this character of chaos, right? So the armies can be argued that it's kind of a controlled chaos, but as far as they go, it's just complete unruly chaos. And when they came through the rift, right, that's when you had the Latchard soldiers in the encampment say, listen, we have no control over these things, but let's follow in their path of destruction and let them do the work for us. So it was it's a pretty good idea, which led them to conquering Morace, but we'll see how that plays out in a battle. Can they show up? Are the Latchards actually using them more than we think? But yeah, all will be decided soon. It should be cool. Any characters you think are going to bite the dust next episode?
Well, you killed the one I was very interested in. This last arc, the Scrag.
Are you talking about at the end of part 2?
Yes, at the end. I think it was at the end of part 2.
Yeah, our Wretch and Sand Maggot.
Wretch.
So yeah, Sand Maggot. Yeah. So that's actually unconfirmed, right? I was specifically ambiguous with my wording there. So he was kicked from the wall, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, for sure. Anyone else you had in mind? And why? So not only do you have to call someone out on Discord, but you have to say why they're gonna die.
Oh man, that's a hard one.
Making enemies.
If I were to in reality, I think the person most at risk now might be Bulric, actually, because he's going into this big battle, and we've seen before that while he is a good fighter and he can handle his own, he's also a huge target, and he's not the kind of guy to block or dodge things. So I mean, if he gets in any kind of fight, he's not dodging, he's just trying to kill. And so
Yeah, he actually
it's a
he fights a lot like I had written up Valiant as well this episode, who's just kind of throwing axes around in a closed tight bar and basically forcing them to dodge him, but doing it with his eyes closed. So yeah, it's kind of a similar thing. And Mead's injured, so we're not even sure if he's gonna be able to back you up out there. We'll have to see.
right,
soon.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Bulric might be in danger. I think it'll be a war of attrition if he's really
Sure.
in the battlefield and in a classical fight, that we see with large armies
Yeah.
standing chest to chest with each other.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to call my own death here, I guess.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes down. It's interesting because I always kind of when you're sitting there in between episodes with nothing to do but interviews and to speculate on your own. It's always fun. I always have these ideas of where I would go with the story, and then I get the write-ins, and it's completely different. You have to shift your focus, but that's the benefit of this medium. So we'll see what you write in soon. But remember, some of that is up to you, how dangerous you play it as well. So
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. This is one that I try to ask everybody. I ask the Australian boys as well, Australian and New Zealand. Is any wiki entries that you kind of had your eye on? Any that you have written up that you'd like to see in the story?
No, I don't really have any that I've been really eyeing, but I mean, this is kind of a side note, but it's always great to hear my animals, I guess.
Yeah.
Being named, even if they're tangential,
right.
in the story. So I always do enjoy that.
Yeah. So the character playing Wretch, I can't remember his name on the Discord, but yeah, he's written in a ton. But by far, you have this whole biology going on that was pretty awesome to see, and it's the perfect thing to have in the wiki, because when you think of a lot of metaphors or something he flew across the battlefield like a am I gonna say a raven? Come on, I can be more imaginative than that. And then you can kind of go in and play with some of the entry of birds and stuff that you've done. So that was really useful. Why did you why'd you go about being interested in kind of the biology of coffee, and what brought you to that?
That's a good question. I've always liked animals and stuff like that, and then when it comes to whatever you would call them, I guess cryptids. It's always kind of interesting to create an ecosystem around a couple concepts, and the way you make your environments, it really makes it easy and kind of obvious that, oh, well, this forest, the Sudland forest, is kind of this dark and mysterious place, and things go in and they don't come out. And why would that be? Oh, well, maybe it's because a lot of the creatures are hidden, and maybe it's because a lot of them are poisonous, so that even though you maybe survive the encounter, you don't survive the Sudland forest. And so you make it really easy to do that. And yeah, I've just always enjoyed kind of making those kind of creatures.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, funny you bring that up, because that was the centerpiece of the last arc that your part of the arc with Mead was based around that happening, because we said I think it was Sir Mead who wrote in and said, all right, I'm in the Sudland forest, what's in here? What am I doing here? What am I going to face when I'm trying to get to the camp to the north? And he came across the Dreadbeast entry, and that's when he included it in his, and it was just the perfect thing to scare the crap out of them. I think wound him for the first time in the story, give him some sort of obstacle, and give you a kind of trophy to show off your new skills with. So it all worked around that. It was great. It was really great.
Yeah, I really like that scene too.
Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, cool. One other kind of general question that I meant to ask in the beginning, but I'll go ahead and ask it now. Any other RPG games that you're into, or something that got you into P&D specifically that maybe the rest of the Discord should know about?
I mean, I played Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder.
Oh, did you? Okay. See, that's funny. The director did. I did not, so you'll have to fill me in. So have you been playing it for a while, or?
So I started playing Dungeons and Dragons about a year ago when my rugby career at the University of Arizona ended.
Okay.
And then I moved, so then I lost kind of my D&D group there. And then I picked up Pathfinder here, which is it's pretty much the same thing as Dungeons and Dragons. It just has a little bit more math, but that's about it.
Okay, all right, and it's still like it's not a video game. It's like a
No.
tabletop. Okay,
Yeah,
all
it's
right.
all tabletop characters, dice rolls, all that kind of good
Yeah,
stuff.
I've seen some of the D&D like streams on Twitch and stuff, and they always look like a ton of fun because they have these guys that go on there with great personalities that bring in viewers and everything. And I always wanted to try it, but I just never had a group, so unfortunately I never did it. And this is the medium that I found instead. And so when I started writing my own, I mean, it all came together and I loved it. I'm sure I would like to do it the other way, but that's pretty cool that you had a group to play with as well.
Yeah, no, it's amazing what you can do with the internet and all that stuff. So, I
Yeah,
mean, if anybody listening wants to start a PND D&D group, we can base it out of coffee. And I've
yeah,
started putting together a couple, one-shot Monster Hunter type stories where we're going after the monsters I've created for
yeah.
Cawthon. So
That would be cool.
I'm
That would be cool. A little
yeah.
spin-off. I mean, and then you layer in some technology. I know a bunch of the guys have mics and cameras, and all of a sudden you got a pretty nice recording that we could include. So definitely something to think about. Maybe a direction we could go in the future. I'm gonna take a little bit of time off in between Cawthon seasons and maybe start to look into that kind of stuff. So yeah, great idea. Great idea. And actually, recommendation: have you caught something called Harmon Quest before?
Oh yeah, I love Harmon Quest. I love Dan
Yes,
Harmon. The way he
yes.
makes stories is great.
Oh my God, those crack me up, and that's how I pictured kind of like myself playing it because I don't know anything about it, so I just have these game breaking things to say every once in a while. So yeah, I love that show. Anyone listening, you got to check out Harmon Quest. But yeah, I apparently they have 3 seasons. I've only seen the first one.
Really, I've only seen two. I didn't know they had a third one already.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was where I really got hooked was just in the first episode when he was just said something along the lines of like, um, he was trying to attack someone and he like missed the attack and he's like, okay, so you have this dagger, the guys are standing over there, your dagger's this long and there's this much distance and you miss him by about 2 inches. Then he's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep running, screw it. Like Jeff Davis is too good in that too. He's great.
Yeah,
um
yeah, they're great.
yeah, cool. All right, man. Well, I think we can wrap it up here. We've been recording for a little bit now, but I really do appreciate you joining me on the call. Any last words you'd like to say to the audience out there?
Uh, well, actually, I have a question for you since
Oh yeah,
we were talking about creatures and monsters and all
yeah.
that
Let's
stuff.
do it.
What's your favorite monster that's come out of the wiki?
Okay. So the Dreadbeast was obviously kind of a newer one that we used, and it's just on my mind. I think that one's awesome. But in addition to that, I really like. I think they're called the Archangels. It's
Mm,
the same animal that was conjured by Volf in Arc 6, and I think that those were the birds that we used to distract everybody. And I
right.
didn't write it specifically with a ton of detail, but those birds are huge, and they swoop down at their prey in like light speed, and they're pretty cool. They're actually pretty awesome. What about you? Did you have one on your mind?
Yeah, I really like I like the Dreadbeast, but I liked the Archangels, and it got me really
Yeah,
excited about Wolf group and who's with them now, Young Dell, and
yeah,
I guess
and
I keep
Brack
wanting to call it,
and
yeah I
then
keep
Master Sneck.
yeah I keep wanting to call him Scrags, but that's another rat monster from something else. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
R.I.P. Sneck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
He's struggling there. We'll see if he makes it out of there alive. Um,
yeah.
but cool. You got anything else before we sign off?
Uh, nope. I think that's pretty much it.
Sweet.
I guess shout out to Gotham Pop with his new endeavor and also
Oh yeah, that's right.
Adrenaline
That's
by
right.
Rez.
Right.
I'm really excited for that. I really like Adrenaline. I think it's a good story, and I think Rez has really got something there. So
Hell
be
yeah.
sure to go check that out.
Yeah. And if the director didn't make it clear in some of his past Discord posts, we really, really do encourage anyone that with a creative mind to come on board. You know, we can't give everyone the P&D seal of approval, but these side stories are kind of we can imagine creating this community-driven P&D story that I think has a lot of potential. So the more people that join, the better. Gives more people more options as far as what type of universes they want to participate in. So yeah, it's all great. I hope that more of our community checks those out. So cool, cool. All right, man. Well, yeah. Thanks again for joining the call. And we'll catch you in the season finale, Bulric.
Yeah, see you guys in the season finale.
All right. See ya.